Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we're back from the brand new video. Today's video we are of course here to preview Rangers versus Ross County, which actually gives Rangers another opportunity to keep us all smiling on from that beautiful performance versus Galatasaray. Now as always, before we actually dive in to today's video, just a quick wee shout to the channel sponsors and the channel legends themselves, OneFootball, who have a free footballing app, so if you like things for free, the links for that is down there in the description below. Now this is usually the part I say to business, then shall we rub our hands and we get right into it. But I just want to say that little phrase there, to business then shall we, I think perfectly sits and fits right here for this game versus Ross County, because you're looking at the highs of European football. We've bet Galatasaray, we've secured that European money which will probably bring in that midfielder we are all waiting for, but now that's gone now. It's time to refocus, screw in the nut and get back to business, which is the SPFL, and this week is Ross County. And starting off with the old oppositional preview, we face a Ross County side that's on its way to Ibrox, sitting 7th in the league, which I think if you offered them the opportunity to be sitting 7th going in to the second international break, I think they'd have bit your hands off for that before a ball was kicked. But the truth actually is, they started the season off absolutely perfectly, picking up a couple of wins, keeping clean sheets, and even playing versus Kilmarnock and getting a 2-2 draw out of that isn't the worst result in the world for Ross County, but they just couldn't keep that level of performance up, especially in the attacking side of the game, as they went on to lose 3 of their next 4 matches, including being pumped rotten off Celtic. And in fact, their only non-loss in that 4-game run, by the way, was a 1-1 draw versus 10 men St Mirren. Which, if you take that and you go to the latest game that they've played, they've got an interesting pattern forming so far in the SPFL. If they can keep a clean sheet, if Laidlaw can have another fantastic performance and not allow the ball into the back of the net, that sets him up for a platform to go ahead and win the game 1-0, because all their wins so far this season has been keeping the back door shut and winning 1-0, which is quite mental to actually think about, and I think it makes it the first ever team I've previewed that's played a decent amount of games that if they concede a goal, they've never came back to win a game, which is very, very interesting to look at, because if you score against them, you're pretty much guaranteed to either draw the game or win. I know which one I'd prefer out of them two. But all joking in that aside, looking at this Ross County team, in my personal opinion, a lot of what they've been able to do this season, sit 7th, win a couple of big games, rests a lot on the shoulder of their goalkeeper. Now normally I would sit here and say their defence and goalkeeper is very good, give props to both, but if I'm being pretty honest and being brutally honest, I'd say the defence is allowing a hell of a lot of shots on target, but the goalkeeper Laidlaw is in the type of inspired form that's only normally reserved for games versus Rangers. But to be fair to the lad, he's putting in performance after performance, because he's facing a hell amount of shots, but he's keeping his concentration and he's having those moments for Ross County. Yes, they've conceded quite a number amount of goals this season, but if you pay attention and you actually look into it, it's no because of the goalkeeping situation. He's keeping it from being a cricket score nearly every single game, and that's props to him. And despite their attacking troubles that they are going through this season, it doesn't necessarily mean they are light up top, because when it clicks and when it works, their attacking side of Ross County can actually be a handful. Because when you look at it, you have Billy Mackay, who yes may be getting on a little bit, but he's still very dangerous when the ball is in and around the box, and he scored a couple of goals against us over the years. And you look at it on the other side of that, if you want to flip it from maybe a bit more experience to the inexperienced youthful side of thing, they have Ollie Shaw, who has showed in his short time in Scottish football that he has got a wee bit of football about him. He's fully running, he's got good pace, he's good with the ball at his feet, and he's got legs, and I think that's going to be something we're going to see a lot of tomorrow, and that's why I kind of think we're maybe going to see Balogun to sort of line up against Ollie Shaw, because I'm pretty sure we're going to see that putrid long ball style in behind the centre backs to try and free him. But more on that a wee bit later, because it's not just Mackay or Ollie Shaw. They have another guy by the name of Ross Stewart, who we have spoken about here on the channel before, who yes is all arms and legs. He's a big laddie, but he can be a real handful as well, and he's heavily linked with a move down south for £1 million, people, and I'm sure him and his agent will be looking at it saying, hey, if we want to move for all that moolah, a game versus Rangers where all the eyes in Scottish football and beyond is going to be on you, it's probably the time to really put in a performance. But I just want to say, I am very much aware that some people are saying, Craig, you've already said there is attacking problem, so how can you call out a couple of attackers as being dangerous for the game? That makes no sense, mate. And granted, you're usually right and I'm usually always wrong, but from watching a lot of Ross County, or as much as I could for this actual preview, I'd actually say a lot of their attacking struggles goes down to their setup and how the players are actually being used. Because the guy we just spoke about there, Ross Stewart, has clearly got something about the laddie, but he's playing more out in the wing position this season rather than more central. In fact, if you want to look at it, it's very, very similar to what we had Cedric Itten do versus Kilmarnock. You know that wide number 9 thing that we tried? Mind it didn't work? Well, that kind of perfectly highlights what Ross County is trying to do with Stewart. Which again, me being a Rangers fan, I'm not going to sit here and complain if the big lad is getting used out of position and sort of playing out of form versus us. I'm not going to complain about that. But these preview videos, I always try and be honest, and I try and always give you a detail in to the opposition so you know what to expect. And that's kind of how it's gone for Ross County in terms of the attacking sense. Yes, they are struggling to score goals, but they've still got a couple danger men, which I think our defence needs to be switched on for. I think Connor Goulton and even Balogun, if he's coming in for his pace, has to watch Ollie Shaw. And I think BB especially needs to be careful with Stewart on that right hand side, because again, if he is going to play and he's going to continue to play this wide number 9, I personally think Ross County's hopes in terms of an attacking sense will live and die in that matchup with Stewart and Barisic on that side. So yeah, look out for that tomorrow. I'm expecting a lot of crosses to the back post as they try to take advantage of the aerial difference between Barisic and Stewart. But someone we won't be able to see tomorrow, which I think is actually massive from the Ross County perspective, is the fact that Ian Viggers isn't in the game, as he picked up a straight red card versus Aberdeen in the most recent game. And that right there for me is absolutely massive, because to me he is their most consistent and best player week in and week out. You always know what you get. Yes, he's not an out and out star or anything like that, and again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but he is a good player for Scottish football, and he's very, very important to how they play, because it's usually him that's marshalling the back four. It's usually him that's talking and getting everybody gone. With him gone now, I think that leaves a massive gap in that midfield to protect the back four, and I'm expecting to see a lot more spaces than what you would normally see versus the Ross County side. Now though, this is usually the part where I break down their formation and I would talk about the 4-1-4-1 which they actually play in, but with what I've just said there about Viggers being out, their one in between the two fours is gone. So I'm expecting to see a bit of a shake-up from Ross County and see them a hell of a lot more defensive and not be as attacking as they were versus even the likes of Celtic, where they did create numerous opportunities, but they just couldn't hit a band door with a shotgun. So it's going to be interesting to see how they line up now that such an important piece of their puzzle is gone. And with that being said, that's us all done and dusted with the old Ross County preview. It's been a very good start to the season for them, and a lot of that is on the back of their goalkeeper performances. Laidlaw, who for me again has been outstanding so far this season. But as the results have shown, and what we've already talked about in today's video, if you do get one by that goalkeeper, the gates usually open, and it's normally there for whatever team scores versus Ross County. So let's hope that continues and we get a nice wee early goal to settle this ticker and these grey hairs. Now it is time to talk about what matters most, and that is of course Rangers. And speaking of Rangers, it is on them now to go ahead and send us into this blistering international break with the warmth and only warmth of our smile from 3 points on Sunday. That's all they can give us now, and it's on them to go out there and deliver and do the job and end a perfect week perfectly. But despite all the jokes and all the happiness and all the joy that we all have, this game, the Mora, is still a very, very dangerous game, because we've went from one extreme to the other. Because you look at it, gone into Galatasaray, there was a lot of people saying we wouldn't win that game. We defied them, we went ahead and won the game. Now, just a couple days later, we face a team on our park that we are expected to heavily pump. That right there is when a team's mentality is well and truly tested. But in saying that, to be fair to these players, in my opinion, I think they've been pretty good for the most part this season of taking a high and transitioning and getting focused for the next game, and I just hope that continues. And I don't know about you guys, but when I was watching this week's press conference with Steven Gerrard, you could sense and you could feel that the full focus from the gaffer was on this game versus Ross County, and you could sense that he demands the same and expects the same for the players of Mora. Speaking of the players, by the way, we got an update regarding the old fitness of the old squad. There was a couple of bumps, couple of bruises, couple of kicks and all that stuff from that battle from Galatasaray, but thankfully nothing to concern Gerrard or the team or the medical staff or anything to rule out anyone for tomorrow. But in saying that, that doesn't necessarily mean there won't be any changes from the squad versus Galatasaray, because something that Gerrard actually talked about was how confident and comfortable he is with his squad depth now and being able to rotate a couple of players here and there, and that's what they expect going into this game versus Ross County. No whole squad changes, we're not getting an entire 11 or any of that nonsense, but a couple of wee changes here and there is expected just to freshen up the legs and give others a chance. And I'll just be honest, with what we just talked about, when Gerrard said there would be a couple of changes, that used to make me very, very nervous. I don't know about you, but now seeing where our squad is at, seeing the types of performances guys like Bassey and Jones is coming in and being able to do versus Motherwell last week, this is the first time that I've ever heard there's going to be a couple of changes for an SPFL game, and I've been more excited than, nervous. Now, as I did get a couple of comments saying, do you think Ryan Jack's going to be available for Ross County? Yes, he is in there for the selection and he's available if Gerrard wants to start him, and I think we will see Ryan Jack start tomorrow. I'd absolutely love it. Yes, he got that wee cameo versus Galatasaray, but love to see him dominate the middle of the park versus Ross County. Again, Brandon Barker's fully fit and available for selection as well tomorrow, but again, I'm still leaning towards your man, Jordan Jones. You talk about holding the jersey, winning it and keeping it. I think he showed versus Motherwell that he wants it. Let's give him a chance to replicate it. If he doesn't, if it dies off and there's no hype or anything like that, fair enough, make some changes. But I'm just not trying to be biased because everyone knows I'm a Jordan Jones guy, but for me, it's his jersey now when he comes in and plays in Scottish football. So if he's going to play either Barker or Jones, I think it's still got to be Jones in this game until Jones shows that he's not good enough otherwise. And as always, a wee update regarding Joe Aribo and Kamaru, who again are still expected to be back from the international break, and your only other long-term injury is of course your man Nikola Katic. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It was a battle versus Galatasaray, but we have a battle versus Ross County now. So let's string a couple of W's and come away with the 3 points going in to the international break. But with that being said, that is the oppositional preview, that is the press conference recap, and that is the latest Rangers team news. Now, that's out there. Now you know a little bit more about the game tomorrow, what you thinking and why. And while you guys are getting your thoughts and predictions out there, I will give you mine very, very briefly. Again, I'm expecting Laidlaw to have a very good game for Ross County, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think we will get the breakthrough, and when we do get that very important breakthrough, we'll then start adding to the score sheet. So I'm actually going to go pretty big with this one. Despite everything I've said about how good their goalie is, I'm still expecting Rangers to come away now with a message sent and a 4-0 victory with goals from your man Cedric Itten to score 1. I'm expecting to have, just to continue his ridiculous goal scoring form, I'm expecting a wee goal for the centre backs as well in this game, and my last goal scorer, I'm going to go back to back. I'm going to go with Jordan Jones. And with that being said, that's us all done and dusted with today's video. Now, normally I would jump over to Twitter and that, but I've seen a couple of people and I've watched the watch time in the videos, and it's like 50% of the audience turns off the exact second it goes to Twitter. So I don't know if maybe people are a wee bit bored or that, or if they would just prefer to dive into the comments and talk that way as a community. I don't know. I'm always trying to give you the videos and that you are actually going to enjoy. So just let me know if you're still watching, your thoughts and opinions, if you still enjoy hearing from the people on Twitter, or do you think we should be able to hear from everyone down there in the comments as a community. Now though, it's time for the outro, so thank you so much for watching. I do greatly appreciate everyone tuning in and spending a wee bit about your day. Hopefully today's video you've enjoyed enough to hit a subscription button. That'd be greatly appreciated. It's free, it doesn't cost you a penny, and it just helps us on our way. But as always, I've been CJ Nova92. I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves, and bye bye.